I'll start out by tying a Magnus, which is one of the really classic Danish patterns for saltwater sea trout. And it's kind of like a saltwater woolly bugger, because you can use it all the time and you'll still catch your share of fish. Start by tying in a set of Beadchain eyes just behind the hook eye. You can vary the size of Beadchain eyes simply to get a fly that'll fish at the depth you desire. You don't have to make sure that the Beadchain eyes are totally bomb-proof tied on, because you'll be able to correct that later on in the tying. And we'll just bring the tying thread back to just where the hook bend starts. And we'll take two feathers of. I've used the feathers from the bottom of a cape, but you can basically use just about everything. The original was tied with hackletips. These are Grizzly marabou feathers, the bases of two grizzled saddle feathers. Just strip a bit of the fluff on the end. Just gently stroke the feathers back. Maybe need a bit more fluff removed. Just align them with the hook shank. Secure them with a couple of turns. And we'll take a piece of copper wire, just standard, nothing extraordinary thin and nothing extraordinary heavy. Just turn that on as well. And we'll take a Grizzly saddle hackle, and then stroke the fibers to separate them a bit. Tie it in. It's important to notice when tying in this feather for the Palmerhackle that you make sure the feather curve inwards towards the hook shank. Cover up some of the essence. And we'll take some dubbing. I've just made some standard dubbing with some brown and natural colored rabbit, and mixed that with some SLF, white SLF, simply to get a bit of shine. But anything that looks grey, brown, dirty colored will do. And I'll just use a piece of Velcro just to roughen up the body a bit. You can see you get that real scruffy look that the sea trout like sometimes. And we wind the hackle, and the reason that we tied it in so it pointed towards the hook shank was that when we wind it as a Palmerhackle, each turn will get that slight curve towards the hook bend, and it looks better than if you end up with a Magnus with 8 different dry fly hackles all along the way. So make sure it curves inwards. And it doesn't matter if you tie this fly completely like a classic salmon fly. It's great if there's a bit of fluff of marabou at the front, or it's meant to be a general shrimp or baitfish imitation. And it seems to me that using different materials like the standard hackles, like a bit of marabou, and it adds to that put together appearance of a shrimp. You can see I don't counterwind the rib, and that's partly because of the gut and partly because you'll cross the hackle anyway. So as long as you wind the rib after you've winded the hackle, you'll help the fly become more durable. Now, if I were to tie an original Magnus, I would stop here and then simply use some paint, metal paint or anything, to paint the eyes red. But since I don't want to get paint involved in this video, I've chosen the next best thing. That is to use some red tying thread, and then just simply add plenty of that. That's also the reason why I didn't make sure that the eyes were bomb-proof in place at the first step, because you can always correct it here, or could even, before adding the red thread, add a red hackle or green, or there's loads of possibilities for varying this pattern. Don't be afraid to use plenty of turns in. The idea is to get that very neutral colored, very natural looking fly, with the red head working as a trigger point, or just something to set it apart. And if you're very imitative minded, it could look like the roe on a shrimp, or the internal parts of a small baitfish. It's just a finish. And then the Magnus is ready. And you could more or less get through a whole season by only using this pattern, and I would guarantee you more or less that you would catch your fair share of sea trout.